Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to Solve Your Own Problems. In this video, we're going to talk about externalizing anxiety. So what does that even mean? Well, essentially, when we experience anxiety or depression, bipolar, when we get a diagnosis, we often tend to make it part of our identity. So we're essentially internalizing those symptoms and becoming those symptoms and making it part of who we are. So when we can externalize anxiety or any other mental health symptom, we are able to separate it from ourselves a little bit more. So when you feel that symptom inside you and you identify with that symptom, you're keeping it internal. And when you can externalize it, you take it outside of yourself and you're able to observe it a little bit more objectively. So this is definitely a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but there's a good way to ease into this process. So you might want to take whatever it is that you are identifying as part of you that is actually a symptom and start with that statement. So we're going to use anxiety for this example, but it can really be used with any sort of mental health issue. So you might say, I'm an anxious person. So that's I am an anxious person, because you've had anxiety for so long that you start to identify as the anxiety. So you say, I'm an anxious person, and you turn it into just a little bit of an external, and you say, I have anxiety. So now instead of I am, it's I have. So it's something that you are experiencing as a symptom instead of who you are. And then the next step is anxiety gets the better of me sometimes. So again, now this isn't something that you have inside you that's part of you, and it's not something that you carry with you. It's something that is externalized that sometimes gets the better of you. And then when you want to move into an even healthier position with it, you want to say, I'm working on getting the better of anxiety. So even more than it gets the better of me, which is externally happening to you, it is something that you are working towards getting rid of or getting the better of. So it's still external from you, but you are the one in control. You're the one managing that, and not the other way around, where you're stagnant and the anxiety happens to you and you just have to deal with it when it comes up. So a good way to kind of picture this is, imagine that you're carrying this anxiety everywhere that you go. It's really hard to get rid of that or let that go if you keep it with you always. Then you start to become anxious about having anxiety. And that is going to create way more problems than necessary, because that type of anxiety just isn't necessary. But we get anxiety about being anxious. So if you're carrying this with you everywhere, it's constantly a possibility for you. You're always looking for things that are going to make you anxious or anticipating them. But if you picture you walking without this anxiety, and picture the anxiety as the shadow of a tree. Sometimes we are going to walk under the shadow of a tree, but we have the power to walk out of that shadow. And it doesn't mean we'll never walk into the shadow of a tree again, but we're able to consciously step out of the shadow and into the sunlight. And that's what you can do when you learn to start externalizing your symptoms versus internalizing. This works with depression, it works with bipolar. Basically, any sort of diagnosis that you're given or you feel like you have, try really hard not to say, I'm bipolar. Move into, I have bipolar. And then into, mood swings get the best of me sometimes. And I'm working on getting the better of the mood swings. So really you can translate it into anything. If you guys have questions about how to relate this to a certain symptom that you're experiencing, please feel free to leave a comment. I will always respond back, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can get updates when new videos are posted. And don't forget, you can always ask for a video about a topic that you're interested in, and I would happily make it for you. Thank you so much, and good luck solving your own problems.